like a bunch that will be racing up and have all the moisture it needs from Tropical Storm Bertha to cause a possible tornado risk out here. We'll show them the outlets. Let's now go to the next marginal risk over here in central USA, Wichita, and Colorado. You're including that. So we have a marginal risk for Fort Morgan, Hugo, Amarillo, Childress, and Woodward. You're all including that. Let's not go to the slight risk over here. Garden City and Liberal and Euless. You're all including that. We have some major cities in the bullseye. As we can see, let's look at those major cities, which is Garden City. You also got Lacken, got the Garden City, Helcomb, Lacken, and Deerfield. So there's some pretty big cities included in that. That's our new feature we got on the WeatherWise app. Let's now go to our tornado risk for today. It's at a 0, but I won't be surprised if we get an isolated tornado or two over here. I won't be really surprised at all. I feel like we'll get an isolated tornado warning or two down here. So I'm very surprised that we don't have at least have a 2% tornado risk down there. So, but yeah, the wind risk is at a good. I don't know why. Also, we don't have a 15% wind risk. I don't see if we can get some isolated, an isolated considerable severe thunderstorm warning for 70-mile-per-hour winds, or maybe a destructive severe thunderstorm warning for some 80-mile-per-hour winds. I won't be surprised if we get any of that. But I definitely won't be surprised if we also get a couple 70, 80, 90-mile-per-hour winds over here. I think we can get up to 100-mile-per-hour winds over here. Like I said, these northern westerly flow winds will be racing over there, which will be causing. So I'm very surprised we could get some 100-mile-per-hour winds over there. And this is where our big winds are. I definitely agree with this one. Garden City and Liberal, you're including that 15%, will get up to 90-mile-per-hour winds over here. So it's going to get pretty crazy. And the hail risk is at 5%. I agree with this. No complaints for that. Let's now go back for tomorrow's risk. Because tomorrow is going to be another crazy day, as the tornado risk will be actually alive tomorrow. Alright, let's start out with the marginal risk. Alright, so starting with our marginal risk, it's out here off the coast. There will be a bunch of moisture. I'll be sucking out the Atlantic Ocean. We'll be sucking out with some nice northwesterly flow winds. That will be sweeping across, and would cause some decently northwesterly winds, which could cause some isolated supercells to form around, which could cause some slight risk type severe weather over here. A lot of moisture will come out, and a little bit of leftover moisture from Tropical Storm Bertha will dip northeast onto the marginal risk. So we could get a slight risk upgrade tomorrow. So don't be surprised if we get an isolated slight risk right along here. And an isolated possible 2% tornado risk, we'll get to that. Let's now go to our marginal and slight risk up here. This is where the big guns are going to be. Grand Forks and Bismarck are right in the bullseye in the slight risk. Let's first talk about the marginal risk, like Rugby and Winker, Fargo and Benton, International Falls. You're included in that slight or marginal risk for severe weather. It's going to be pretty crazy out there. My big high populated bullseyes for the slight risk, level 2 out of 5, Grand Forks, Bismarck is all included in that. We're going to be a bunch of isolated tornadoes, or 2, or even 3, or even 4 isolated tornadoes over here, and a separate tornado risk just covering Devil's Lake. I won't be surprised if we can get a bunch of tornadoes over here in this corridor. There's only a 2% tornado risk right now, but count on maybe a 5% tornado risk or 2% with the hatched risk. Let's go to the real tornado risk. It's only a 2%, right in my bullseye of where this tornado risk is going to be. I think we could get a separate tornado risk out here. And we could get a separate 5% tornado risk covering Devil's Lake over here. And we could get a separate one covering Grand Forks, so a separate 5%. This will be an interesting weather pattern tomorrow, as we do have a southwesterly flow winds coming straight out of the Mexicali area from all the moisture and from the high pressure coming out of that. So that will be something. Let's now go to the wind risk. The winds are not going to be a big threat tomorrow. That's what's keeping this to only be a slight risk and couldn't even get downgraded to a marginal. But we do have a 15% wind risk, as we can see there. We have a 15%. So yeah, why is this not working? Sorry. As we can see, we have a big fat 15% wind risk right crossing Devil's Lake. So we could get a hatch, roll out the hatch risk out here. Won't be surprised. So that's over there. Let's now go to the hail risk. The hail risk is going to be something again tomorrow. We have a good 15% or hail risk out here. Could get an isolated 30% hail risk out here and a hatch risk going for pretty much the whole risk area. I think we get some pretty decent sized hailstones tomorrow with with a destructive storm bringing 3-inch hail. So I won't be surprised if that gets rolled out. Let's go to the day 3. So day 3, it's only a marginal risk down here in southern Phoenix. No glass out here in Tuscan. You're all included in that. But I won't be surprised if we get an isolated slight risk over here, so you could have some decent storms out there, which will be forming with the probabilistic outlooks. Speaking of that, let's now go to the probabilistic outlooks. And let's start off with the 15% any severe risk out here. Up here in the group point. So this does start up north near Canada, International Falls, Email, Little Fort, Big Falls, Canada, Net Lake, MG, Grand Rapids, Duluth, Minneapolis, you're including that, across Madison and Rockford. This goes up into Illinois too. Won't be Minneapolis, you're in my bullseye for this decent amount of storms. If we get any enhanced risk out here, the enhanced risk would be right over here. This would be the enhanced risk. So Minneapolis would be in that bullseye for the enhanced risk. Over here, I won't be surprised if this does get cut off. I don't think the storms are going to be powerful enough to get down here. So if any storms do reach down here, they're not going to be, they're not going to be bad. So that's surprising to me, but it is 4 days out. It's rare risk, so I don't know about that. Let's go to the day 5 risk now. We have a 15% any shear risk. Chicago, you're in my bullseye of this severe weather risk. Milwaukee, you're also in one of my bullseyes. But I think this will be more of a marine threat, okay? I feel like the enhanced risk will include the lake. Because I feel like it's in Milwaukee and Chicago, and it's my bullseye. Let's first stop now. I also could get this spread out to Springfield and more southern Decatur out here. Let's first stop at the Wisconsin side. Let's start in Appleton, Oshkosh, Milwaukee, Madison, Janesville, and Kenosha. You're all including that. You're in one of my enhanced risk bullseyes over here. Let's now go down west to Dubuque, Maquoketa, and Davenport, and Galesburg, and Peoria, and Bloomington. You're including that. And let's now go more central and north to Chicago over here. Joliet, Morris over here in Ottawa. This is my bullseye of enhanced risk out here. That's my bullseye. Let's now go to Indianapolis. We also could get another enhanced risk. Well, interesting one. Now we'll cover Indianapolis. Fort Wayne, you're also South Bend, Auburn, you're included in that. Let's not go to Michigan, Decatur, Michigan. I won't be surprised if they roll out another good enhanced risk out there. Kalamazoo, I won't be surprised. There's a lot of areas for enhanced risk to happen, but Grand Rapids, you're including that. Decatur, Lansing, Detroit, you're in my bullseyes for that, so you're not sticking out. So that's what's that. That's that. We will not go through the future radar since the RFS is down right now over here when I'm here in Illinois. Let's go to the flash flooding threat. That's means something. We do have a huge slight risk. We're going to get dumped with a bunch of 4 inches of rainfall out here. Won't be surprised if we get a nice moderate risk. A big one, actually. Oops, this thing doesn't work. Hate when this does this. I won't be surprised if we get a nice, long, moderate risk of flash flooding along here, not including this part. Won't be surprised if we get an isolated one or two moderate risks. So it could be pretty severe. Also another slight risk over here. And another marginal and another marginal. That's what will be pretty concerning. I think the flash flooding threat on the day 4 will be pretty decent amount of flash flooding here. I think this is our slight risk and even a moderate risk. They're gonna get training thunderstorm after thunderstorm that will be producing a bunch of rainfall. All right, before I go, let's first talk about the temperature. The temperature is gonna get brutal. It's going to get brutal out there, I'm telling you. It's going to get brutal. We're going to get up to 105 degrees out here in Las Vegas and Phoenix. It's going to be pretty perfect out here. We're going to get 90 degrees over here. It's going to be decently hot. With also going to be pretty decently hot out there. Before I go, one last thing. Let's talk about the nice weather. The nice weather, finally. Hopefully you enjoyed that day out there. It's still going also over here in Eugene, Portland. And also a pretty perfect day out there tomorrow. Beautiful, and it gets beautiful out there. So that's all the weather talk I have for you guys today. It's not so prepared of a video. I will not be able to cover for the next 2 weeks starting on Sunday. I will be at overnight camp, which will be due to that. I will not be posting anything. I won't have any electronics. So don't count on me making any videos after today. I'll try to get a bunch of videos out because I won't be there for 2 weeks. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to smack that like, spam that sub, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.